How much is a faceless Thomas train really worth? And I found a very curious, very old Thomas for sale, and we'll investigate this very peculiar Thomas in this video. Okay, let's do it. I hate the trolley on this, but yeah, you won't believe what I've found. We all know about that. This is a shop that's a fair way from where I live. I came here earlier today to take some photographs. And I'm just letting you see what's here at the moment. Look at that there. But when I went up here, oh crikey Charlies, I'm in luck. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in luck. It's another Shed 17 Trackmaster James. Yeah. My son's with me today. He's excited about this. He's just going to get all the pegs for us. Yeah. It's a mystery why it's just appeared. I was only here an hour back and all of a sudden it's on the pegs. Maybe someone had bought this and they've returned it and they noticed it was missing a face. Not knowing that makes it quite special. It is a bit more expensive than I like to pay for one of these. But crikey Charlies, that's my second faceless James. Just looking at the packaging here, it's actually had a bit of peg time because I can see that's a bit bent. Let's take a look at that all-important area where it gets sealed up on the card. It looks pretty good, you know. I do not think this has been tampered with or altered. It looks excellent. It's a really, really curious and very interesting find. And so often with these toys, when there's an error, often there's a run of the same style of error, and I think I'm starting to see it now. Yes, with James being off his face again, let's take a look at the Thomas stock as I'm seeing it in a couple of different stores, in a couple of different shopping centres. Going into store and looking at toys and stock levels in stock in 2020 has been very different. Although I have shown you many times before that Thomas stock can be fairly depleted, but I think the virus times has brought another dimension to the lack of stock in store. And I've told you before that what I notice is that Thomas gets put against what is the very popular toy at the time. And right now during 2020, Bluey is one of the most popular toys, the one which is disappearing off the shelves. And I see plenty of examples where Thomas is hard up against Bluey, but there was a time when Thomas was always mingling with Paw Patrol, and for a little time there, Thomas was playing with PJ Masks. And how about going back a few years and thinking about when Thomas was near Octonauts? Okay, where are Octonauts now? Personally, I think the Thomas & Friends franchise needs a massive shake-up. They've got to get back to basics. They've got to go and look at what made Thomas great. You've got to get back to characters where you had some friendly characters and you had other characters which weren't that friendly. That's what made Thomas great. We've got to get back to toys that are like train sets, that emulate Soda Island and not roller coasters, and not fantasy places or things that you never see in the franchise. And I think the most dangerous branch line on Soda Island was the one that led away from Soda Island. They've got to get back on the Soda Island and stay there. And if the writers are struggling for ideas on where to take Thomas and Friends, why don't they go forward a touch and introduce Pip and Emma, who are based on the British Rail Class 43 high-speed passenger train, or in Australia we'd recognise that style of train as the XPT. The hardcore Thomas fans love Pip and Emma. They're making custom toys of these trains. They're also replicating the stories that Pip and Emma were in, or making their own stories around them. It seems a logical place to go. There's no harm in going forward in time and telling stories. As for why we haven't gone there, I really don't understand. And just thinking back to retail space, the craziness of empty shelves in many stores is continuing on into August 2020. And I'm starting to think we're not being told the full story now. I think there's something going on in China that is not being disclosed. And a very strange thing I see going on in Australia, and we're in winter time right now, is they're trying to sell eskies and also electric fans that you would normally sell in summertime. They're just putting anything onto the shelves to try and fill an empty space. It's been completely crazy to witness. I've never seen anything like this before. Let's think about factory error Thomas toys. I went on to eBay and I typed in Thomas and Friends factory error toys. And sure enough, I found just a few Trackmaster trains there, missing a face or face and boiler section. And you can see the prices that are being asked, but the picture that I'd like to see, and the one which is missing on these sales, is a picture of this toy in store on the pegs, missing its component. And sure, even that picture could be done as a setup. If you are going to buy one of these factory error toys, you need to be extremely cautious in what you buy, because things like this can be faked and frauded and made to look very real. I'm not saying the examples that I've shown here are fake or frauded. There's no way I'd pay that much money for that type of factory error. As always, remember, a fool and his money are easily parted. I also noticed a Hot Wheels Thomas there. It had a kooky face on it, and the Hot Wheels arena is completely full of people doing fake factory errors. Not saying this is a fake factory error, but it could easily be done. Be very, very cautious on things like this on eBay. Just to make a point on how easy it is to manipulate the artwork on a Hot Wheels car, I'm going to change this Hot Wheels car, and I'm not going to open up the blister to do it. It's going to take me about 3 minutes to pull this off, and you will not know how I've done this, and I don't want to tell you how I've done this because I don't want to instruct you on how to commit fraud. And where it becomes fraud is if you go to try to sell this toy online saying it's a factory error, when in reality it was an error done by you manipulating it to look like a factory error. A lot of people pay attention to the bubble area where it's sealed onto the cardboard, but there's other ways of getting into these bubbles without having to disrupt the bubble away from the cardboard. And no matter how many times you ask, I'm not going to show you how this is done because it's wrong to do this. When searching for factory error Thomas toys, this other very strange Thomas toy came up in the search, and it's touted as a 1940s Thomas. And I thought, this is a bit strange. I don't quite understand where this fits into the Thomas timeline. I did more of a web search about this toy, trying to understand it, found a website, and on the website it had links going back to the eBay sale. That's sort of curious, isn't it? What this sale seemed to lack was any sort of provenance or origin of where this toy fits into the Thomas and Friends realm. Remembering it's being sold as a Thomas the Tank Engine. This is how I see this one. It looks like maybe a $5 old wooden toy train with a face on it, and someone's thought, let's dress this up as a 1940s Thomas and let's see how far we can spin this. If you read up at all on the Thomas and Friends toy history, this Thomas is at a very peculiar time. It's almost a prehistoric Thomas the Tank. Maybe it's best to ask the audience, how much is a little wooden toy train with a face on it that's touted to be Thomas the Tank, but is nothing like Thomas the Tank? How much would you pay for that toy? One nice thing I saw on eBay, it was the Thomas Trackmaster Powerline Collapse set. I never saw this playset in Australia. I remember Beanmeister22 reviewed this set, so he's got one. For me to buy this, it's $230 once you do an exchange plus postage, puts it right up to 275 Australian dollars. And for me, that's out of the ballpark for a playset like this. There's just some stuff that doesn't come to Australia. To finish the video off, I go back to the store where I found the Faceless James, but I'm winding back a year, back to 2019, and you see a very different style of stock there. It was the end of Thomas Adventures. Thomas Trackmaster Push Along was being pushed at that point, sorry for the pun, and you can see that Thomas Wood was there, but it's the non-painted version. And what was very peculiar was once the non-painted version was sold off, the painted version didn't turn up to replace it. Very tricky to find the painted version of Thomas Wood. And looking at the clearance bins back then in 2019, there was the Thomas Wood, I'll call them destinations. They were bits that you could add on to a layout to make other parts of Sodor Island. I noticed these things in the stores and I never really saw people grabbing these. They seemed to sit there forever. They became dust collectors And I think the failure of these was the fact that they drifted away to their own track connection and not the standard wooden railway connection that is the same across most types of wooden railways. You want to talk about alienating yourself? Well, this is exactly how you do it, and I think this really spooked many people when they noticed that it had a different track connection versus Thomas wooden railway track and any generic wooden railway track that was across most other wooden railway toys. There's always that notion that if you're going to start changing things, change one thing at a time. And looking back at Thomas Wood, especially the unpainted version of it, there were multiple changes going on with those toys, and I think that was a big error going on there. People buying Thomas Wood had to contend with a downsize of the toy, a simplification of the models, a lack of paint there for some time, a change of the track system as well. And I suppose a counter argument is, well, it's only a toy for a 3-year-old. They're not going to complain, are they?